I'm Mark. I'm 60 years old. I don't eat fruit, veg, any carbohydrates. I live on meat, fat, eggs, bit of dairy. Horrible comments I got. You're going to die of scurvy. You're going to do this. Your thyroid's going to pack up. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. So, well, thanks for your concern, but and I'm meant to be dead by now. Can you tell me when I'm going to die?
Mark, how did you find carnivore?
I found carnivore after a period of really bad health. And I didn't realize how long I'd been unhealthy until I got the dreaded COVID in November 19. I was working in prison, and I think one of the inmates there had it, and then it knocked me out. I couldn't do any training or proper work for over a year. It really flattened me, and then I got it again in the February, March, but it weren't as bad. It weren't as bad as last time. But I started to withdraw into myself. I had no energy. I had trouble breathing. It was absolutely awful. And I've got a 10-year-old son, and we used to do things. And he goes, "Dad, can we go running?" And I said, "Son, I can hardly walk 10 yards. I was sweating. It was, I even changed his mum's name in my phone, because I used to have him at weekends. I still have him at weekends now, to Mummy. So if something happened to me, he'd know instantly to ring his mum. It was horrific. I had severe sleep apnea as well. I mean, I didn't realize until, and they took 2 years because of the pandemic, 2 years to get me into hospital. I went in for this test. They did a oximeter test over me overnight when I come home. And within 2 hours of giving the results, the doctor, the consultant said, "Right, you need a CPAP machine." Oh, okay. So I went in and fitted you up for this CPAP machine, because I was just in a really horrible, dark place. And I didn't realize that, the sleep apnea is a killer. It thickens your blood. It destroys your brain. I felt like, I know it sounds a bit iffy, I felt like I was getting cognitive impairment, like dementia sort of thing. I couldn't focus on things. People had asked me questions. I was really introverted. I'd sit down, I'd just fall asleep. And looking back, you think, oh yeah, well, you had some insulin resistance there and that. So I went to the doctors. They'd done some tests, and I said, right, okay then. Well, you've got pre-diabetes, you've got high blood pressure, your kidneys are packing up. Oh, great, okay. What can I do about this? So, oh, well, you're going to go on a statin? I'm like, no, I'm not. And we're going to give you this, oh God, is it a healthy plate? So by this time, I've been listening to the professor, and I can be quite upfront with the way I speak. So I says, right, okay then. I says, well, the definition of diabetes is high blood sugar. Right, fair enough. And if you've got high blood sugar, why are you prescribing carbohydrates, which are just long chains of sugar, which get broken down and push your blood sugar up? So, if you stop, like Bart says, stop shoving down your stupid neck, you're not going to get, high blood sugar, are you? So I said, right, I'm going on this high fat, low carb, medium protein diet. And I don't recommend that at all. Oh, no. So I said, right. And the doctor said, okay, then what we'll do then is because my A1C was high, everything, up. Right. I said, right, I'm going to do this. I said, all right, we're going to call you back in another month. I said, so I'm not going to do it in another month, because it takes, 12 weeks at least for your blood cells to renew themselves and get rid of it. So I left it for about 4 months, 3-4 months at least. Then I went back. I said, right, test it. Oh, yeah, I was perfectly normal. A1C, brilliant, no problem. So the nurse is going, yeah, but your cholesterol's really high. I said, yeah, it's good, isn't it? She goes, no, you're going to die. I said, look, love, we're all going to die. Nobody gets out alive. Come on. I said, but I'd rather die feeling brilliant. If I die tomorrow, wow, I don't want to decline into some, for 20 years, dribbling and being in aches and pains, because I did have this inflammation in my body. I was aching. backache. Me, I've got a dodgy elbow here, and I've got to have an operation on it. I've got an impingement. But I didn't want to do that decline. I've seen so many people go down that route, and I've got guys my age. Well, they look like my granddad. And it's sort of like, you know, they come to it. At the minute, I'm doing like solar installs. So I'm up and down scaffolding. I'm doing all sorts. So I'm an electrician by trade, and sometimes I have to go on the roof and help them out. And there are guys who would take 10 minutes trying to get up the scaffolding. They're that unhealthy and that. And I say, look, really, you should maybe try looking at your diet. And because when I started, which is a really strange thing, I didn't bargain on this, because after work, a couple of beers in the fridge, have a beer. Yeah, there you go, lovely. As soon as I started, I didn't want any at all. I didn't want any. You know, we like a whiskey and a bit of rum or whatever. And my girlfriend's done this as well. She's gone on the same diet, and she lost over a stone by doing nothing. She doesn't go to the gym or anything, just like, and she feels better. Because I've been doing this since last September, so it's about 15 months or more. So, like you say,
Sorry,
you'd expect.
Can I interrupt for a second? So
Yeah,
can you just clarify for me how many pounds are in a stone?
14.
14. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk in pounds or? But yeah, it's I lost probably coming on 24 to 28 pounds. But it doesn't really matter, because that wasn't a goal. My goal was to get better and feel better. And goodness me, I couldn't believe the weight loss. All right, piss for England, but you know, that's the way it is when you first start. And I did it too quickly, and I had the Joe Rogan explosive experience. But yeah, it was the best thing I did. Absolutely, I'll never go back to eating carbohydrates or anything. In fact, my girlfriend has every now and again she has a sachet of coffee. Like, and it comes and it's got about 2 sugars in it. And the other week I thought, oh, look, I like a coffee. Obviously, that's the next thing I'm gonna probably pass up. But I thought, I'll try one of these because I'd run out. My God, my elbow and my arm, because I've got some sort of tendonitis in it. It was so painful because the sugar had definitely. I mean, you know, people say it's all woo woo and rubbish and this, that, and the other. It was so painful. So I know now. Yeah, that's causing a lot of arthritis and inflammation and all sorts. So now I can out sprint my son. How's that? Uphill. It's absolutely fantastic. Because another thing, when he's at like school or out of school club, he's saying, because I'm old, I'm 60, and he's sort of like, oh, Dad, you're old and you're going to die and this, that, and the other. I said, all right. I said, well, I don't think so, not now. I says, just have a look at the guys around. Look at your friends, dads. Look at them. They're all stood there with their sort of like inflated bellies and their puffy faces and it's like water retention. I says, they look older than me. And they act older than me. They're huffing and puffing and doing whatever. And there's a girl in his outer school club who said to him, your dad's unhealthy because he eats all that meat and stuff like that. I'm like, don't think so, though. I mean, this is the best I've felt in years. I think I feel better now than I did when I was 30. And that's saying something, because I didn't realise how insidious this thing is, how long it takes to get to this sort of like period. And I didn't realise until I was listening to Ken Berry, and he's saying about fatty tongue. And I thought, that's what I've had. Fatty tongue, because that's obviously been contributing to my sleep apnea. Because I remember years and years and years ago when I've got a few kids, and I remember Ruby, my middle one, she's 32 now. She was saying, Dad, why do you always bite your tongue? And I was always biting my tongue, and I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. I says, nobody's going to design something that's going to be too big for your mouth, your tongue, and I don't see any above. So that's where I was storing my fat, in my tongue as well. And I had this like a big thing under here. And I said to the doctor, what's this? He goes, well, I don't know. So now I go back to the doctors, and they're sort of like, well, you're going to, I says, well, do you know with this LDL? I says, high cholesterol, as you get older, is protective of all-cause mortality. No, it's not. I says, well, I'm sorry, love, you need to do some CPD. I said, because you're about 50 years behind everybody else. And it's the same in all the medical places. And they're not listening. They don't listen. So I bombarded them with all sorts of podcasts and, say, have a look at this, have a look at this, have a look at this. And I've got a nice Japanese doctor, Dr. Sawa. And he come in and he was really, first off, he was really concerned about my mental health because I was severely depressed. I was, like I say, withdrawn. My friends didn't know me, and they said, Mark, this isn't you. This is not you. It's sort of like, and it wasn't until, because I'd sit down, every time I sat down, I just fall asleep. It's sort of like, what's going on? I just like, and of course, when I'm asleep, got sleep apnea, it kills your brain. There's no oxygen there. And I wake up and I'm like sore throat. And I'm like, and then I've got to go, now you've got to go back to work. Like, I was missing meals as well because I was just sleeping. It's ridiculous. And then I just self-isolated. I didn't want to be near anybody because I was sort of like, and I'm quite a gregarious person and I'm not that way out, but it was odd, very odd. And it was like it was like I was looking down a tunnel. Like I was like, I can't get out. I don't understand. Well, as soon as I stopped all the sugar, refined, because obviously, like I say to people, look, I'm a carnivore. I don't eat fruit, veg, pasta, bread, rice, everything. They look at me like, really? Like, yeah. Well, like with training as well, because I started. I dropped a lot of weight. I dropped a lot of fat and fluid. And people looking at me saying, what drugs are you taking? You're taking some drugs to cut and stuff like that. Like, no, I'm not. I said, I've just changed my diet. And when I see young, I was training at a gym the other day, and this young kid's like, oh, I'm doing this, doing that. I just, okay, then I start, because I do a more high intensity training now. And this kid's saying, about being hungry and stuff. I said, well, look, I've not eaten carbs for well over a year now. And they're like, what? And then the trainer's saying, oh, you're the carnivore, aren't you? You don't eat carbs. And I'm like, no, because I don't need them. And to quote a phrase like the number of exogenous carbohydrates you need in your body is 0. And he's sort of like, I don't get it. People say you're gonna do this, do that. I says, well, and there's guys at work. One guy I've got on it, he's lost 3 stone. He's not cut out everything yet. He's doing like keto. He was 16 stone. He's texting me saying, Mark, I'm 13 stone now, and it's easy. I'm like, there you go. How hard is that? I go to the supermarket and people like see me buying all my steaks and meat and stuff like that, and they go, and they keep asking me, what are you doing? How are you doing it? This, that, and the other. And I think that's the way to, because I said to Dan at work, I said, right, it's your job now to spread the word. You're the example. You're the N=1, but people will ask you, and you got to lead, and you're leading by example. And people will go, oh wow, how'd you do that? And say, well, actually, I've not counted any calories, whatever they are, as we know. I've not eaten any coal, or just get the calories out of that. And I've not followed any strict plans as such. I've just cut out most of the process. I cook in butter, tallow, lard, everything I render down myself. Obviously no seed oils or whatever. I get a bit preachy now and again, obviously, but the thing is, if you're feeling good and you know where you've come from, you're never going to go back there, are you? Ever. I mean, it's like, people, oh, you got to have a drink. No. Oh, what about a pizza? And they say, what do you snack on? I don't snack. What do you mean don't snack? I don't get hungry. Well, what do you mean? And then when you ask people, like, okay then, I said, I can go to bed and so I weigh myself at 12 stone 10 pounds, right? Okay. Then I get up in the morning. If I want to weigh myself in the morning, I'm 12 stone 7 pounds. I says, where's that fat gone? Where's that weight gone? And they're sort of like, well, you burnt it off. I says, how can I burn it off? What do you mean? I burnt it off. You don't burn anything. And they're sort of like, well, I never thought about that. I said, so you're not burning calories, you're asleep. I said, it's your body breaking down the chemical bonds. I says, you breathe it out, and then you get up in the morning and it goes down the toilet. I says, you've breathed out all these chemical bonds. I says, that's how your body works. It doesn't work on calories. Yeah, a bit evangelistic, I suppose, but it seems to get the point across.
So I really like the way you said to your colleague at work, you've got to be a leader about this now. That's a really good way of looking at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it is. It's sort of like people look at people, and it's obviously now it's spreading. I mean, what you're doing now with your talks, Matt, I think basically we're one big tribe, and we've gone out hunting. We've killed something, we've eaten it. Now we're sat around the campfire, we're sharing our experiences, we're sharing our knowledge. And this is how it's meant to be. To better something, you've got to share the knowledge. It's great, it's bringing people together. It's like a lot of things. If you're isolated, you don't know that people are out there doing this. People just think you're a weirdo. I've got my sister, and she talks like that. She's down south. And I'm saying, oh yeah, I've got this because my cholesterol over doubled. It went from like 5.2, which is that's nice. Went to 10.7, and I said, I feel fantastic. But obviously, it's because my body needs it. I'm using it. It's I don't give a shit about my bloods because I feel good. How many animals out there going, oh, I must get my bloods done? No, you live your life as long as you're not eating crap. As long as you're eating what you're designed to eat. What's the worst going to happen? If I could die tomorrow, great. Right. I don't want to be, like I said before, I don't want to end up in a wheelchair dribbling or whatever. Out there, then bang. Right, fine. It's going to happen anyway. So why not when you're healthy or feeling healthy or whatever? It's
100%. Yeah, and I can certainly relate to your experience with the doctors. I was talking to my doctor yesterday. He looked at my recent physical and he saw my LDL, which is probably similar to yours. The measurement's different here, so I'm not 100% sure. But he was looking at that and he goes, "You need to go on a statin." I said, "No, I'll be having none of that. Thank you."
Yeah.
And
I said, where you can stick that.
Yeah. He said, why? And I said, dementia, muscle wastage.
Yeah.
How many more things do you want me to write? And he's writing all this down into his notes, to cover himself as his.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I offered it, but they've got to offer their script they're giving on that. You got to offer this, got to offer that, just protect themselves. Because I was talking to my doctor, I was talking to the nurse first. This is on the phone, and she's saying, "Oh, you're going to die," and it's like, "Yeah, fair enough, and we're going to die." You tell me when I'm going to die. And I've been on little social forums, little ones, because this woman was complaining about fibromyalgia, and I said, "Well, try this elimination diet. Try it. I've heard it can work pretty well." I'm Mark. I'm 60 years old. I don't eat fruit, veg, any carbohydrates. I live on meat, fat, eggs, bit of dairy. Horrible comments I got. You're going to die of scurvy. You're going to do this. Your thyroid's going to pack up. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. So, well, thanks for your concern. But and I'm meant to be dead by now. Can you tell me when I'm going to die? And then I was saying about the carbohydrates. And this woman piped up, "That's a load of piffle. And that's from a registered nutritionist." I said, "Oh my God." And then another one come on about being a nurse. I said, "Well, I do hope that you're an elderly nurse and you're not practicing now. This used to be your job." I said, "Because you are so severely behind the times, love. It's bang out of order. You're telling people stuff that, I can parrot things. Obviously, this is how we learn. People tell you something. Oh, right. Yeah, here's a good idea. Well, the best way to do it, or best way to find out is try it." That's what I say. But, well, what's the worst could happen? You come off it after 30 days, a couple of months or whatever. There you go. That's no harm done. You might have, but like I'm said to like Dan at work. I says, "You've got the opportunity to influence somebody else. You could save their life. You could put them on a better path for health." And that's what it's all about. And I'll tell you something, the mental health, I I didn't realize how bad I was in the depression-y side, because like I say, I'm normally a bubbly sort of thing. But as soon as I changed it, ketones kicked in. I assume better outlook on life. I feel great. My son feels great now, and he's standing up in class. And like, because they had somebody come in from like the vegetarian society, I don't know, whatever, and they're saying, "Oh, you got to eat more vegetables and that." He goes, "No, you don't." He goes, "You get all the nutrients you need from meat." He goes, "My dad's a carnivore," and he's like, in general society, because like this girl at out of school club said to me, like, well, she hadn't said it to me, she said it to me son. Your dad's unhealthy and this that, and that. Like, all right, fair enough. But there's a lot of ones there that are sort of metabolically disadvantaged in some certain ways due to their own eating. And I look at them, I think, well, is that okay? Is that okay to be looking and feeling like that and being like 5 stone overweight and sweating and breathing heavy? That's okay because you eat the processed crap. But if you just eat unprocessed meat or whatever, you know, that's bad. And I just advocate, look, if you're going to eat something, get it as close as nature to possible. You know, it's how hard is that?
100%.
Really? I mean,
100%.
I know. Yeah, I know a lot of women nowadays and men and whatever. Back in there, when I was a lad, my mum used to cook, and she used to cook from scratch. We had big bags of scratch, and she used to make everything out of that. And she'd we'd have very basics. We'd have we'd have the meat and 2 veg, and we lived on ground beef and stuff like that. And because I'm the youngest of 6, and my dad died when I was 3 days old, so we had nothing. We were like in the 60s. It was like there weren't any all these benefits and stuff like that. So we ate what we were given. And I did this to my son the other day because he's, I went to pick him up from his mum's, and she's going, "Well, I'm cooking him meatballs now. He wanted meatballs." And I said, "All right, okay." I said, "All right." I sat there for an hour while she cooked these meatballs, and he sat down, and he went like that. He goes, because she took the tomato ketchup off him. And he sort of like teared, "Oh, I don't like the taste. I don't like this, don't like that." I said, "All right, fine." I says, "Put that in a takeaway tub. I'll take it to mine." I says, "If he's hungry, he can eat it. If not, you're not having it. If you're not hungry, you go to bed hungry." I said, "That's what we used to do." I said, "If you don't eat it," I mean, my family was like a pack of dogs. I'm the youngest, so if I didn't get to me food, it was gone. So I was saying to my son, "Look, you've never been hungry in your life. You don't know what hunger is. And this is a problem. You're being spoilt and pandered to. Oh, he's got to have this, he's got to have that." So I sent him to bed. Well, chilled out. He was quite okay with it. And he goes, I said, "Are you hungry?" He goes, No, I'm not." So he went to bed, and it was about 16 hours till he had something to eat. And he said, "Dad, I'm feeling a bit hungry now." I said, "Good. Because now you're going to eat what I give you, and it's going to taste good." And that's the thing, is people never get hungry. They just fancy things, you know. Oh, if you're hungry, everything tastes good. Really. I mean, even a bowl of ground beef will taste good, especially if you put loads of butter on it. But yeah, so he's learned a lesson, and he's going to come to the gym with me now. He used to, nice. And he goes swimming. Because he's tall, his mum's tall. I'm not. I'm tiny. I'm 5'4", but he's got her genetics, so he goes swimming. But yeah, he says, "Dad, can we go to the gym now?" Like, yeah, sure. So he's going to come starting next week. We'll have to gym, do a couple of times a week, because I'm only training 2 to 3 times a week now. I used to train to feel good, because I didn't realize I was poisoning myself with the carbs, and my muscles were a carb dump. Now I can go a week or so without training. I'm like, yeah, fine, I feel good. It's no problem. And I haven't lost any size as such, and my strength's getting better. More I leave it, it's the old high intensity thing. You know, you need that recovery. I didn't realize how important recovery was. It becomes such a habit, or an addiction maybe. that I was going every day, and constantly running myself down. And that brings me back to the COVID, when I was running down. I had blood tests and they're all askew, and they're not lipids, I don't know, basophils and stuff like that were all out askew. And then I looked at Dr. John Campbell. Have you heard of Dr. John Campbell? Yeah, with vitamin D. And so I thought, I'm going to try vitamin D. Wow. Yeah, that works. I got me vitamin D and my K2. And then I started supplementing a bit. I don't do it now, but with magnesium as well, and potassium. And obviously they told me to cut out salt because of my high blood pressure. But when I cut out the high blood pressure pills and I started sort of like pissing for England, it's sort of like, right, maybe I need to introduce some salt, because you get your muscle aches and your brain fog and stuff like that. And yeah, fantastic. Everything salt. Everything tastes better with salt and butter, and maybe a bit of cheese and cream.
Right. So I have a question. You just mentioned the training before. I've got a question about that.
Yeah.
So you were training before you went on carnivore?
Yeah.
Right. What changed for you, the kind of body composition wise, after you went carnivore?
I must say, I lost.
Because you're sorry to interrupt. Because you obviously you got a lot of muscle, right? So
Yeah.
did you have that much before, or is it kind of grown a lot since?
I wouldn't say it's grown. It's getting better. I wouldn't say it's grown a lot, but I think it was more bloat, more fluid, and more fat. I must be getting a bit bigger or whatever, because I mean, it seems a bit silly being 60 and growing muscle, but because my strength's getting better. I can't wait to have this operation on this arm, because that's what is stopping me doing me maximum weight. I can still lift a good weight. So I think the biggest one I did lately, I've dropped my deadlifts down. I went up to about 265 kilos, but I've dropped them down about 240 now. But I don't go for 1 rep maxes or stuff like that. I'll do, and again, they look at me saying, I don't believe you train that little, like 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, you can't, because, and again, you see people going there doing all these routines, eating crap, and never changing year after year after year. And like, if the thing, I mean, Einstein said, if you keep doing the same thing, you expect different results, then you're mad. You got to change something. And when I changed my diet, that's when they said, "Oh, you're cutting up. You're on, it's like some sort of cutting drugs or whatever." I'm like, no, I've just changed my diet. I said, I've not had any carbs in well over a year now. And they're like, "How can you function? How can you walk?" I said, "Well, my body makes it. I said, "How do you think?" That's why everybody's got a high blood glucose in the morning. I mean, I monitor my blood glucose now, like, and it's great. I mean, I had it at 3.2 millimoles per litre the other day. That was after training. And that normally fasted blood glucose first thing in the morning, when it's slightly elevated, is about 4.2. So they've not asked me back for more blood tests, because when I was arguing with the doctor, I said, right, you want to put me on statins? You want me to change something? No. She goes, no. She goes, I have to give you this stuff. She goes, but you carry on doing what you're doing. Because I wish all my punters were like you, who would actually take care of their health and be interested in it. So I'm looking. If they ask me back for a blood test, great. If not, I really don't care. That's the thing is, I think people worry too much about my cholesterol, all this, all that. Why? Just go by the feel. If you feel good, great. Well, what's it just causes more stress worrying about, like my sister, you've got high cholesterol. So what? Yeah, but you're gonna die. There was a bloke across the road. He was 72 and he had a heart attack, and he used to have big slices of butter on bread. Right. Well, if he just didn't have the bread, he'd be all right. But yeah, but he was an alcoholic and he was a smoker. I'm like, oh God, he's come back.
And so, see, that's the problem, isn't it? We're looking at one thing
Yes.
in isolation without taking into account any of the context. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And again, because I don't understand why they're not doing their CPD, because we're paying them to look after us. And the last time I went to see my doctor, because he's looking at me, because I mean, when I first went with depression and stuff like that, he's saying, look, and he's a really nice guy, young guy, and he says, look, you got my number. He goes, anytime you need to talk to me or chat to me, I'm here. All right, great, thank you. I says, you really do actually care, don't you? He goes, yeah. And then as I've gone for, he's looking at me changing. He's going, how are you doing this? You know, I said, well, I eat meat and fat. And he goes, yeah, but how are you losing this weight? I says, you're the doctor. You tell me. I says, we don't use calories, do we? We're like a biochemical factory, and we break everything down. I said, so I'm using fat as my energy store. And I said, look, you know, there's me fat. There's that. Great. And he's looking at me, and I says, and the last time I went was to have a word about this elbow. And then I got up, and I says, I turned around, I says, look, have you noticed something? He goes, I says, I've not asked for a prescription. I'm leaving now without you writing me a prescription. I says, I'm not taking any of the drugs you give me. And he goes, really? I said, yeah, I'm not taking my blood pressure, or I'm not taking any statins or whatever. No, I'm not taking that. And he was shocked that a guy of my age and how I was before was sort of like off all meds and happily running up and down scaffolding and doing whatever, outperforming his 10-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, look, honestly, when you said your age before, I was shocked, because, you know, how many 60-year-olds do you see sitting around with a body like that? You know, like how many 60-year-olds are active enough to have muscle like that, you know?
It's like I say, if I'm on site, I see guys my age or even younger. There's a lot of younger ones who are so metabolically unhealthy. That's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? With the big beer bellies, and they're shuffling about and huffing and puffing, and they're having enough. I'm like, what are you doing to yourself? Because I say, oh, look at you. You're like Popeye. You're like this. You're like that. Like, yeah, but I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't do this because this is my vessel for me life, for me body. This is it. I said, you get one of these, so you better look after it. And like, oh yeah, but I can see them mentally declining as well. That spark isn't there. They sort of like, you say something, it's like, oh my God, it's like, you know, Fear the Walking Dead. A lot of it, it's like when you go to the supermarket and see, I mean, you must want to run up to people and say, no, where's your protein? Where's your fat? What you got? You got Honey Nut Loops. It is. Go on.
You want to take the shopping cart out of their hands,
yeah.
And just push it over and say, you don't need any of this.
Yeah, it's like when you stood there and you've got your bit there, you got your meat and your eggs, and then you look, and oh my God, like, and there's buns and there's like cereals and there's all sorts of processed crap, and then a lettuce, and then, well, how do you sustain yourself? How does your body repair itself on that? And it's like, again, we notice now that they say, oh, we want a plant-based diet. Everybody's on a bloody plant-based diet. It's all, at least 75% of them all eating wheat and grains and bloody whatever stuff they put in it. It's and now that they're advocating, I was looking on these, because you do, so oh, I'm a bit bored today, I'll scroll through the NHS and stuff like that. They advocate eating potatoes and stuff like that with the skins on and stuff like that. And they're like, well, that's where all the toxins are, surely. So, I mean, back in the day, when we had chips cooked in beef dripping, my mum used to peel all the potatoes because that's what had all the toxins in it. You know,
I remember as a kid. I remember as a kid, you kept them in a dark place in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I remember, I mean, other things, old wives' tales about tea being bad for your iron and stuff like that, and the tannins and that. How the hell did a little old lady from years ago know this? You know, oh, don't drink that because it's bad for you. You got tea robs your body of vitamins and stuff like that. Like, really? Okay, but it's true. I mean, this knowledge that's passed down through the generations seems to have been lost at the minute because a lot of the families, because they've been bought into the processed food and put it in a microwave and offered chicken ding for dinner and stuff like that. That's they've lost the ability to cook and reason for themselves. They're like, oh, I've got to make a quick meal. Well, put a steak on. There you go. Right, maybe 5 minutes at the most. You got a meal. Yeah, but I like me, God knows, mac and cheese or something like that because it only takes 7 minutes in a microwave. Like, yeah, but it's not food. That's the thing is people look at things, they eat them, but they don't look at the nutrition, and that's why your body's craving and overeating all the time because it's not getting that nutrition. I'm probably undereating. I only had a few steaks the other day, but it's sort of like because I load it up on fat, I'm probably undereating. I try and get me about 150 grams of protein a day, just out of me meat and stuff like that.
So how many times are you eating in a day?
Normally it's one meal a day. If I'm hungry, I'm doing a bit more activities, it might go to 2 meals a day, but I'll just eat if I'm hungry. If I'm not hungry, I won't eat. My main my sin at the minute is double cream. I tend to be drinking a lot of calories on calories. Don't say calories. Oh, sorry, Bart. But yeah, I seem to be drinking a lot of energy there because I have my coffee. I have butter in it, and that's the thing. Oh, I'm just having my coffee with butter. And people go, butter in your coffee? I'm like, yeah. Look at Mongolians and their butter tea and stuff like that. Brilliant, because they're up in the mountains. They have that. It releases the ketones, so they feel good and more alert. I think they do that with the mountaineers, don't they? They go up there and they feel sick and this. Oh, have a butter tea. Off you go. Well, so yeah, I have my coffee, but normally eat about 9, half 9 at night, and that'll see me through. If I'm a bit hungry today, I might eat something about 4 o'clock or something. I don't know. It depends how I feel. Just go by the feel.
And eating about 9:30 at night. What time are you heading to bed? Like, does that not interfere with your sleep?
Oh, no, wow. Does it? Heck? It just knocks me out. Boof, lovely. Oh, no. I find going to bed on a full stomach is absolutely wonderful. It's great. It really is. Yeah, I know people say, oh, you shouldn't eat after 8, or you shouldn't do. I'm doing like at least normally a 20 to 24 hour fast, I suppose. I don't know, it's just normal eating to me. It's sort of like, that's why you call it breakfast. And like people saying, oh, you got to have breakfast. And I was talking to a guy the other day. I was doing an assessment for a body. And he's come in and we're chatting away, and I'm rambling on at him like this. I'm not seen him in over a year or so, and he's got a little bit of a pot belly now, and he used to train, and he's looking at me like, you've lost some timber, ain't you? I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm carnivore now, and he's like, oh, I've heard about this, and he's chatting away. So yeah, it's I said you should try it. He goes, oh, I like me. I have these little thin, they call them thins, like bread, like very thin slice, and there's only so many this, that, and the other in it. I said, well, it's all carbs anyway. I said, but if you're just looking at a transportation device from the plate to your mouth, which is what it is, I just said, get a couple of eggs, put them in a pan, loads of cheese on it, melt them down, squeeze it out, and then let it cool down. I said, and then you got like a tortilla or something like that. It's flexible, you can make them, freeze. He went, bloody hell, that's a good idea. I said, well, that's, if that's the sort of thing you do, because I remember trying all these keto things and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? It's just processed crap anyway. It's like I've never really been into like protein shakes and stuff like that. It's because again, it's not natural. Your body don't absorb it, right? So I'll just eat. Oh, what you taking? What protein do you use? Like meat, eggs. You know, if I feel the need for a drink of, I'll have about 8 egg yolks with some double cream. You shush it up, wallet, down it goes. Great. You know, maybe a couple of whites for a bit more protein, but no, I'm not. I don't do that whole bodybuilding bro stuff. It's sort of like you got to eat your bloody rice, broccoli, and chicken and stuff like that. No. And they can't believe it. Oh, I've got to eat every 2 hours. I said, great. They do, don't they? Oh, you got to eat every 2 hours.
That's another one of the biggest scams. That was you've got to eat regularly. So your blood sugar, your body never gets a rest.
No, I was explaining to Gordon. She said, "Oh well, breakfast is the biggest meal of the day." You know, most people. I said, "No, it's not." I says, "When you wake up in the morning, your blood glucose is elevated." I says, "And that's to give you because your cortisol wakes you up, elevates your blood glucose, so you can go out and hunt something, and kill it, and eat it." I says, "That's why we have a higher." So what's he used to put in more carbohydrates and more sugar on top of your raised blood sugar? I said, "You're just raising it up and up." I said, "As far as porridge and shit like that, all right. Do you know what? Oh, no, but it's good because it's slow release." I said, "Slow release." I said, "Right." I said, "So you got your complex carbohydrates with just a string of little carbohydrates, little sugars." I says, "And your body breaks it down a bit slower." Yeah. So that elevates your insulin higher throughout the day. So, you know, don't just think about what you're doing. How are you doing it? Why? I says, if you're going to have breakfast, I said, I don't get hungry in the morning. If you're going to have breakfast, have some eggs, have some bacon, just some protein and fat. You do not need to put, it's like putting petrol on a fire. Just woof, you know. That's what I did with that sugar on my arm. You know, inflammation, thank you. Well, not do that again. Lesson learned.
From here, you mentioned that your girlfriend's doing this. She's doing carnivore as well, or she's doing a more keto style? Carnivore.
Yeah, no, carnivore. Yeah. She'll eat what I eat. Now, my son's mother, she's always battled with things, and I said, "Look, you need to. Don't you tell me what I can eat." And I said, "Don't you admit what you eat, really? You know, it's basically I'm trying to advise you. If you're burning carbs, you're not burning fat." And I try explaining the Randall cycle, but a lot of the time it falls on deaf ears. And she's she's done all her reps, stage 3 physical this, and she works for the diabetes. She works for like not so much advising, but she takes calls and stuff like that, passes them on. And it's some of the things that she sees on people are so unhealthy, and yet nobody has a clue. No, it's just poor education. And unless you fall into this and open your eyes, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's just, why would you? Like people say, oh, you can have this, can have that, and like, you know, with the alcohol, oh yeah, just have a little shot of whiskey once a night if you're an alcoholic. It's all right. Just have a little bit. No, I'm an eliminator. I can't do that. I cannot have a little bit of carbs. I can't have a little bit of alcohol. No, it's all or nothing. So I feel better on nothing, and that's the way it is. It's grinding on people, I think. But my brother's done it. I've got another friend, not at work, but Luke. He was really bad. He'd been on all sorts, and he was eating because he was following another mate of his. And, he wanted to bulk up, so he's getting like carb loading powder and so basically sugar, a big tubs of sugar, and loading them in on his porridge and his protein and stuff like that. I then wonders why he's all bloated and fat and covered in spots. I said, well, you're killing your liver and stuff like that. You know, you got all this crap in you. You can't process it. I said, cut it out. And over the past, I'd say 2 years, he's sort of like, he's done well. But last year, he had a couple of weeks off at Christmas. And he rang me. He says, "Mark, I ain't never, ever, ever doing that again." I felt so bad. I didn't realise how bad it makes you feel, and you don't until you're feeling like what we got now is like people say, "Oh, look," like they do with Anthony Chaffee, like, "Oh, he's like Superman. Is this happening now?" You're feeling like that all the time, and you don't realise that you're feeling like that all the time until he took that Luke took that knockback, and I'm never ever 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 going back there, never ever. So the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. But yeah, I'm trying to do my bit for the community. I'm trying to upset as many people as possible. My youngest daughter is a vegan, but we've agreed that you do you, I do me. So I said, look, I'm really worried about your nutrients and just like, I know what I'm doing, Dad. Fine, if that's what you want, then that's fine. Time will tell, won't it? I think she's been a vegan for 5 years.
At least she sees what you're doing, so yes. She knows long term when she gets to the point where she thinks, this is kind of isolating me from other friend groups or whatever it is, whatever reasons she has, I'm going to give what Dad was doing a try.
Yeah, I took my son down to see her because, I've got a couple of families. I've got 3 daughters and my son's up here. Lily's in Nottingham. She's had some operations on her feet, which probably oxalates and stuff like that, but there you go. And he sat there and he's like looking at her, talking like, all right, okay, son, you're a vegan? And she went, I thought, oh God, here we go. What's going to come here? And she went, yeah. So you don't eat meat and eggs? And no. Do you eat vegan meat? And she's like, yeah, because I got these vegan burgers in. And I looked at her fella because he was raised one, and I said, processed crap. And now he's saying, oh, we're going more whole food now. What, like meat? Because that's food. But they're taking an interest. She says she's doing it for more ethical reasons, and I says, yeah, I agree totally with you that we could have animal husbandry managed a lot better. And everybody wants cheap meat and everybody wants this and that and the other. But I don't believe their way of pushing the plant-based. It's just money. We know it's big ag and big pharma. And then once you get into this rabbit hole, it opens your eyes to a hell of a lot of things, doesn't it? It really does.
Where can people reach out to you if they want to get in touch? Do you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram or a Facebook or anything?
The only YouTube thing I do is like commenting and stuff like that, really. I don't know. Maybe I'll put some food and training down. I don't know. It depends if people are interested or not. I'll just get on with my life. But if I can help somebody, I will. I know people have contacted me through, like when I've commented on Facebook and stuff like that about, you're talking absolute rubbish and stuff like that. And then people say, oh, do you do consultations? Like, no, of course not. I'm just a geezer who eats properly, species appropriate diet, proper human diet. We've all got the name for it. I do what makes me feel good and what's good for my body. And I'm never, ever going back to eating, especially not honey and fruit and stuff like that. That's a bit of a bone of contention. A lot of people now, Mr. Saladin. I can't understand why anybody do that. I know he said he's problems with his thyroid or kidneys or something like that, but there's got to be a way around it. Like Bart said, just eat a ton of protein to give you your insulin kick, and that's it. And again, it's true. Like people going to ketosis and like, oh, I'm on keto and I measure me keto. Why? I just go by, God, I feel good. And then what I noticed before, when you used to get hangry, I don't get hangry, but if I'm forgotten to eat, and, you know, I'm just on with things, I suddenly get very tired. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I'm very tired. I'm like, oh, I've not eaten for 24 hours. Maybe I should have something to eat, you know. But I know that if I can drink some water, I could quite easily fast more. But yeah, I'll just pop in some. I'll get some belly pork. I'll chop it up, and then I'll put it in the air fryer, and I've got some nice crispy bits of fat to eat. That's all good. And before, you know, we were conditioned not to like fat, and it's sort of like, oh, everybody goes, oh no, not fat. But as I got into it, it's sort of like, actually, this is what my body wants. It's rather yummy indeed.
Right. Yeah. You definitely, your body definitely appreciates it. Like,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
as you say, you know, this is a great way of describing carnivore, is the best way you've ever felt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I would describe it too.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Plus, my mood. I'm so calm. When you're eating carbs, you get anxious and jittery and stuff like that, and like you get road rage or whatever. Nowadays, it's like, oh well, whatever. You know, it happens, doesn't it? You know, let's get on with it. You know, I've had people ring me up about things, and like if I owed money and stuff like that, and debt collectors, and they're saying, oh, we need this. So I said, I know, but this is going off. And they say, you're really calm about it. And yeah, I says, yeah, because what's the worst that's going to happen? I says, you're not going to come around and kill me, because you won't get your money anyway, then, will you? So, you know, it's like, you know, it puts a different level on it. It's sort of like, yeah, this anxious, you're getting worried about things that are, I think there's an old saying, like, don't trip on a stool that's not in your way. Why worry about something that's not happened? You know, it's why? Because, you know, whatever happens, going to happen.
That's, I really like that saying. Don't trip on a stool that's not in your way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that describes my life when I was on carbs. I was constantly looking for a stool in the distance to trip over.
Yeah. You're constantly looking for problems, not solutions. It's like, oh no, this could happen, that's could happen. So you deal with it when it's here.
It doesn't help you to be worrying about something that's hasn't happened anyway, right?
Not at all. I'm going through a bit of a nasty one at the minute with my ex-wife and a house and stuff like that. But I'm not overly concerned. You know, what's going to happen? It may cost me a lot of money, it may not. But whatever happens, happens. Either way, I've done the right thing. I've taken it to court. Let them decide. It's out of my hands now. I'm not worried about it. And it's like a myriad of things. You can either worry about it and give yourself a heart attack and stress and whatever on a big belly, you know, your cortisol goes up, but or just roll with it. And I think that's the best way. This is how I feel now. Something happens, I roll with it. I don't get angry. I just, right, fair enough. I look for solutions, not problems. I think that's the way forward, definitely. And I'm a lot calmer now, a lot calmer person. I've never been too angry as such, but anxious. I was very, very anxious about a lot of things that weren't necessary. So it's true that the diet or our way of life really emphasizes your mental health, and I think it's all the fat, definitely the cholesterol that we need in every cell of our body, and especially our brains. I think that's the big thing. Also, I've met a few people, and they've got relatives or whatever with dementia and stuff like that, and I'm saying, look, have you thought about bringing in some ketones, either some exogenous ketones, MCT oil, coconut oil, because there are experiments out there that have said another fuel for your brain is ketones, and your brain loves ketones. I says, my brain loves ketones. So if there's any chance that you can help somebody, any chance that you can bring somebody back from the edge and keep them well for a long time and get their quality of life better, then surely it's worth a go, isn't it? It really is. And yeah. I think that's our role now, is to help people.
Yeah. I kind of, I'm enjoying this kind of journey as, you know, feeling like I'm, you know, part of this movement. It's a really nice feeling.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, we're all one big tribe. We're all, and you know, I listen to different podcasts and whatever, and it's all because at first I thought, who the hell is going to sit down and listen to somebody just talking? Oh, yeah. I put it on. I thought, I'm actually drawn into this because I'm learning, and there's little nuances that somebody might say, oh yeah, I relate to that. And oh yeah, and like I say, this is the campfire. This is us after a hunt, and we're sat down and we're chilling and we're saying, oh, this happened, that happened, right? Okay, and this is how we learn. So it's no longer it's all written down on computer. It's all sort of like written down on paper. And no, we're actually going back to linguistics and we're talking, and it's great. It's great. I think I work better like that. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, Mark, it was a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate you coming on to share your journey with us. And yeah, thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Dave. And I no doubt I'll catch up with you in the future.